Hari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Mayapur Dham ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanandi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 1, the last verse of the chapter, text 45. Tasya, his, prapanna. Oh, that's not how we do it, is it? Tasya prapannākhila-lokapānām. Avasthitānām anuśāsane. Arthāya jātasya yaduṣv. Vārtāṁ sakhe kīrtaya tīrtha-kīrteḥ. Tasya prapannākhila-lokapānām. Avasthitānām anuśāsane. Arthāya jātasya yaduṣv. Vārtāṁ sakhe kīrtaya tīrtha-kīrteḥ. Please chant. Tasya prapannākhila-lokapānām. Arthāya jātasya yaduṣv. Tasya prapannākhila-lokapānām. Avasthitānām anuśāsane. Arthāya jātasya yaduṣv. Vārtāṁ sakhe kīrtaya tīrtha-kīrteḥ. Tasya prapannākhila-lokapānām. Vārtāṁ sakhe kīrtaya tīrtha-kīrteḥ. Tasya prapannākhila-lokapānām. Avasthitānām anuśāsane. Arthāya jātasya yaduṣv. Vārtāṁ sakhe kīrtaya tīrtha-kīrteḥ. Vaishnavis. Tasya prapannākhila-lokapānām. Avasthitānām anuśāsane. Arthāya jātasya yaduṣv. Vārtāṁ sakhe kīrtaya tīrtha-kīrteḥ. tasya prapannākhila-lokapānām. Vārtāṁ sakhe kīrtaya tīrtha-kīrteḥ. Tasya, his, prapanna, surrendered, akhila-loka-pānām, all rulers of the entire universe, avasthitānām, situated in, anuśāsane, under the control of, sve, own self, arthāya, for the interest of, jātasya, of the born, yaduṣu, in the family of the Yadus, ajasya, of the unborn, vārtāṁ, topics, sakhe, O my friend, kīrtaya, please narrate, tīrtha-kīrteḥ, of the Lord, whose glories are chanted in the places of pilgrimage. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. O my friend, no, I'll just chant it. O my friend, please therefore chant the glories of the Lord, who is meant to be glorified in the places of pilgrimage. He is unborn, and yet he appears by his causeless mercy upon the surrendered rulers of all parts of the universe. Only for their interest did he appear in the family of his unalloyed devotees, the Yadus. Purport. There are innumerable rulers all over the universe in different varieties of planets. The sun god in the sun planet, the moon god in the moon planet, Indra in the heavenly planet, Vayu, Varuna, and those in the Brahmaloka planet where Lord Brahma is living. All are obedient servants of the Lord. Whenever there is any trouble in the administration of the innumerable planets in different universes, the rulers pray for an appearance, and the Lord appears. The Bhagavatam 1.3.28 has already confirmed this in the following verse. Ete changsa kala pumsa krishnastu bhagavan swayam indrari vyakulam lokam mridayanti yuge yuge. In every millennium, whenever there is any trouble for the obedient rulers, the Lord appears. He also appears for the sake of his pure, unalloyed devotees. The surrendered rulers and the pure devotees are always strictly under the control of the Lord, and they are never disobedient to the desires of the Lord. The Lord is therefore always attentive to them. The purpose of pilgrimages is to remember the Lord constantly, and therefore the Lord is known as tīrtha-kīrteḥ. The purpose of going to a place of pilgrimage is to get the chance to glorify the Lord. Even today, although times have changed, there are still pilgrimage sites in India. For example, in Mathura and Vrindavan, where we had a chance to stay, people are awake from early in the morning at 4 a.m. up until nighttime and are constantly engaged, some way or other, in chanting the holy glories of the Lord, like those devotees are doing. The beauty of such a pilgrimage site is that automatically one remembers the holy glories of the Lord, his name, fame, quality, form, pastimes, and entourage are all identical to the Lord. And therefore, chanting the glories of the Lord invokes the personal presence of the Lord. Anytime or anywhere pure devotees meet and chant the glories of the Lord is present without any doubt. It is said by the Lord himself that he always stays where his pure devotees chant his glories. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, first chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Questions by Vidura. Translation once again. O my friend, please therefore chant the glories of the Lord, who is meant to be glorified in the places of pilgrimage. He is unborn, and yet he appears by his causeless mercy upon the surrendered rulers of all parts of the universe. Only for their interest did he appear in the family of his unalloyed devotees, the Yadus. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much for giving me the chance to try to speak something of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Before I start, I'll beg the blessings of the Vaishnavas that I can speak in accordance with the parampara. So this is describing how the Lord, he comes to this world on the appeal of the demigods. This world has two purposes. One purpose is less important than the other purpose. One purpose is to give a facility to the souls to try to enjoy separate from Krishna. But that's not the real purpose of the material world. The real purpose of the material world is to help the souls come to their senses and go back home to their real life, eternal life of bliss in a state of their natural state of love of God. That's the real purpose of the material world. And the demigods are instrumental in that purpose. They're meant to keep order in the universe and to help that the soul should stay on the path of Dharma, the progressive path from conditioned life to liberated life. And the demons' business is the opposite. The demons' business is just to cause chaos and confusion and disrupt the plan of the Lord, misguide souls. So this happens on this planet, and it also happens in other parts of the cosmos, where there's cosmic struggles between the devatas and the asuras. And sometimes the asuras, due to different circumstances, they get the upper hand, and then the devas find themselves up against the wall. And in that circumstance, the devas realize that our power is limited. We have to call for the Lord. We have to get the intervention of the Lord so that we can continue doing our service on behalf of the Lord. So they appeal to the Lord. They pray to the Lord. And without fail, the Lord hears the appeal, the request of the demigods, and he manifests himself as the avatars in order to set the world back in order. So Krishna, he could do that without coming. If there's some demons who are disrupting the cosmic situation, then Krishna, without any effort, could just arrange for some huge wind or some earthquake or some deluge, some huge rain, and wipe out the demons. but then we wouldn't have anything to read about. We wouldn't have anything to contemplate. And anyway, the Lord enjoys that part of his pastimes. Krishna has his pastimes in the spiritual world. Beautiful pastimes, engagements of loving exchange with his pure devotees. On all the different levels of the spiritual world, Krishna is engaging with his different devotees. The highest engagement is Goloka Vrindavan, where Krishna is engaging in beautiful, intimate exchanges with his most exalted devotees. And then if you go to other parts of the spiritual world, Krishna is also engaging with his devotees in different moods, in different rasas. And they're all perfect. Perfect, more perfect, most perfect, all perfect. Everyone is perfectly satisfied. Therefore, when Gop Kumar was finally made it to the spiritual world, he was in Vaikuntha, and it was perfect. It was inconceivably perfect. And he was unsatisfied. And everyone, what do you mean you're unsatisfied? You're in Vaikuntha. This is the place where everyone is perfectly satisfied, where all the desires of the soul are fulfilled. They were shocked. So then he went finally to Ayodhya. And even in Ayodhya, he's a cowherd boy. His natural position is to exchange love with Krishna in that mood as a cowherd boy. So even in Ayodhya, he was feeling, oh, this is not my place. He wouldn't give up his cowherd dress, and Hanuman was shocked. What do you mean? You want to go somewhere else? What's better than here? No one in Ayodhya could imagine that someone would want to leave. How could you possibly want to leave? Finally, when he reached Goloka, he was at home, completely content. And no one ever wants to leave Goloka either. Perfection. This is the highest place. Even the Vrajbasis, they'll never leave Goloka. They'll never leave Krishna Loka. And even when Krishna leaves, they think, no, we have to bring Krishna back, because this is the place where Krishna himself is perfectly satisfied. And that's true. So Krishna, he could fix the cosmic order without appearing. But he appears by his own sweet will, and he executes his incredible pastimes. It's very often described that Krishna dresses like, well, the devotees, they dress him like a dramatic actor, because Krishna has a very strong theatrical flair, a very strong theatrical inclination. So even when he wants to create the cosmos, he doesn't do it like some dry engineer. Okay? The world needs to be created. And so he does it in a super creative way. He lays down as Mahavishnu, resting, and from the pores of his skin, universes are emanating. And then he manifests himself in another form, again, laying on the ocean of milk, yeah? And from his navel comes a lotus flower. And from the lotus flower is born Lord Brahma. Extremely theatrical, extremely creative. And therefore, when people hear about it, they think, oh, this is mythology. But it's not mythology. God is a young person. And God has an unlimited imagination and no limitations for fulfilling his desires of how he wants to do things. So also when he manifests himself as the avatars, in so many interesting ways he does it. Just like Varaha avatar. The world needed saving. The world had fallen into the ocean, Garbhodak ocean. So how did Varaha appear? It came from Lord Brahma's nose. It's very... It's funny in a sense, you know. God appearing from the Lord Brahma feels something in his nose, and out of his nose comes the next avatar. So this is Krishna. And he gives us, he's enjoying his pastimes. The world is deluged by the great inundation. So he appears as a fish. First, a tiny fish. And he appeals to the king. Oh, I don't feel safe. You please shelter me. And then he gets bigger and bigger. Finally, he gets so big. Then he has to pull the boat with the sages. So they attach a snake, Vasuki snake, to the horn, which is on his head, on the fish's head. This is our subject matter for contemplation. All of these pastimes of the Lord. Because these ears, they want to hear something. That's their nature. They want to hear something. The world is full of stories, full of descriptions of different people's activities. People are immersed in the activities of all sorts of personalities. And in the absence of hearing about the activities of the Lord, people hear about the activities of some mundane person, especially in Kali Yuga. Who do they hear about? Some football player, some rich person, some politician, some musician. They hear about those activities. Did you hear what so-and-so did? Did you hear what so-and-so? So if the ears are not filled and the heart is not filled with Krishna Katha, for sure it wants to get filled with something else. And it will get filled with something else. But that something else is just the cause of bondage. And then those same people that everyone is hearing about, they also want to hear from those people, right? If some big sportsman comes up and the microphone is in front of the sportsman, everyone with wide open ears. Oh, what is this person going to say? What do you expect he's going to say? He's a football player, you know. Or they think in Kali Yuga, especially if someone is rich, someone's very wealthy, they immediately, oh, what's this person going to say? He must have something very profound to say. No. Avidya. Even the learned people, so-called scholars, intelligent people, they've got it all wrong. They've got it all, they're starting from the wrong point. The ABCs, they don't understand. I'm not the body. Most simple, fundamental, basic idea. They don't get that. And everything that follows is a mistaken conception. I am the body. This is my group, my family, my group, my nation. Other people are different. The goal of life is somehow to be happy in this world. Here's the plan. Here's the plan. So we're not interested in hearing about or hearing from those who are an illusion. This human form of life is so valuable. It's so valuable. And the potential is incredible. So the devotee, the yogi, is very careful. As we walk through this world, we're very careful. And we understand that at any moment, just like when we're shaving, it's a sharp razor. And if we're inattentive, if we're thinking of something other than one, we can cut ourselves. So as we walk the path, one has to walk with extreme care, extreme caution. Because at any moment, we can be victimized by the mind and the senses. Hiranyakashipu was trying to teach Prahlad about friends and enemies. So what's the material conception of friends and enemies? Very simple. Those who assist me in the agenda of gratifying my senses, my friends, my partners in crime. And those who obstruct me in my plan for world domination or for enjoyment, they are my enemies. And I have to deal with them in different ways. Prahlad Maharaj, he rejected that notion, that idea of life. He told his father, no. The only enemy is the unbridled mind, the uncontrolled mind. That's the enemy. There's other enemies as well. The senses, the 6 enemies, the mind and the senses. always ready to mislead. I'll read a verse, beautiful verse from the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. Bhagavatam is so amazing that you have all of these different unlikely personalities who are offering the most profound prayers full of deep, deep wisdom. Usually you think someone's going to offer prayers. It should be a Brahmin. It should be an exalted devotee. It should be a person of a certain age. But Bhagavatam discards all those sorts of rules and ideas of who should offer the glorious, exalted prayers. Point by point, all of those rules are thrown out. So here, 5-year-old boy. He felt ill-equipped. I'm 5 years old. What prayer can I offer? But he got the mercy of Nisringadev, and then the most beautiful prayers came from his mouth. Can anyone think of someone else in the Bhagavatam, an unlikely person who offered glorious prayers? Anyone can say? One other person at least? Queen Kunti. There's some prejudice that, not only the Brahmins, but the males, the men, they should offer. No, Queen Kunti's prayers. Glorified. Gajendra. Elephants usually are terrible at offering prayers. The worst. He offered the most beautiful prayers that great saints study for millennium, for millions of years. Who should I take as my teacher? Gajendra, the elephant. Another one. Sorry? Dhruva, 5 years old. How about someone super unlikely? Degraded in society, rejected from society. Vritrasura, total demon. If you looked at him, you would just run away. And he's preaching to Indra, and Indra's feeling ashamed because Indra he was Sakama devotee, mixed devotee. And here's this demon, and the demon is preaching pure devotional service to him. And Indra's feeling, oh my God, I'm off track. Sorry? Nagapatnis. How about Pingala? Pingala, prostitute, offering the most exalted prayers that anyone can be uplifted by, that anyone can become purified by hearing those prayers. That's the Bhagavatam. So, Prahlad Maharaj continued, "My dear father, please give up your demoniac mentality. Do not discriminate in your heart between enemies and friends. Make your mind equipoised toward everyone. Make your mind equipoised toward everyone. Except for the uncontrolled and misguided mind, there is no enemy within this world. When one sees everyone on the platform of equality, one then comes to the position of worshiping the Lord perfectly." I'm going to repeat that. When one sees everyone on the platform of equality, one then comes to the position of worshiping the Lord perfectly. So much discrimination the mind makes based on the body. No one's the body. Everyone's a soul. Just temporarily for 5 years, 20 years, 50 years, souls have different bodies. And then there's that discrimination. Oh, this one is lower, this one is higher. This one doesn't require to be respected. This one, that person can get me in a lot of trouble. Full respect is offered. This one, I can get something from this person. Oh, yes. This one, what can they offer me? I have no consideration for them. This one belongs to a different species. No. All of these things are impediments to worshiping the Lord perfectly. So we're trying to chant the holy name. We're trying to chant the holy name. And it's not easy to have a taste for chanting the holy name. It's the tastiest of all things. There's so many glorifications of the holy name of the Lord. But the associates of Lord Chaitanya, they concluded this verse was special, super sweet. The verse composed by Rupa Goswami. Tunde tan diviniratim vitanute tundavali labdaye karna kroda kadambini gatayate karna budebhyas priham chetta prangana sangini vijayata sarvendriyanam kritim no jane janita ki yadbir amritai krishneti varnadvayi. That holy name that we're chanting every day. Are we chanting the holy name? I'm not chanting the holy name. I'm not experiencing anything like that. I'm just trying to do my duty. I was given an assignment, chant the holy name, 16 rounds a day. The devotee asked Prabhupada, they were walking, and the devotee asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, we're chanting 16, how can we understand if our 16 rounds are quality rounds? Prabhupada said, there's no question of quality. You have to chant 16 rounds out of duty. The devotee walked a little longer and was trying to, Prabhupada, but how can we understand if when we chant those 16 rounds are quality? There is no question of quality, Prabhupada said. You simply have to chant 16 rounds. Again, the devotee was not, very humbly, Prabhupada, how can we, Prabhupada said, you will understand it is quality when you think, why 16? Why not 16,000? Then you know you have quality rounds. I think he said 16,000 or 1,600, I don't remember, but like that. Then you know that's chanting the holy name, where there's that addiction to the holy name of the Lord, because it's the very reservoir of all sweetness. The holy name is Krishna himself, descended, avatar, to save the souls of this world. And we have that facility at our disposal. We don't need to go to a temple even. We do go to the temple as often as possible, but we don't even need to go to a temple. You can chant at any time, under any circumstances, and the Lord is available, depending on the quality of the chanting. Just like when you're walking through Loy Bazaar, right? There's also some chanting going on, the shopkeepers, yeah? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, yeah? And then you hear that and you think, that doesn't sound like Prem Sankirtan. It's something else. It's something which is tainted by, I want some money from you. So there has to be a certain quality to the chanting. And we have to practice having that quality, appealing to the Lord. The most important activity, the chanting of the holy name. So it should be given the most importance. Sometimes, don't want to be critical, but sometimes I myself, and I see other devotees, they'll be walking, bead bag in hand, very, very relaxed. And if you ask the bystander, that person there, walking there with that bead bag in their hand, are they engaged? Are they doing the most important thing in the world? And the person said, no, it doesn't look like it. It looks like they're not doing something important at all. So it's the most important activity. Otherwise, one can go on for years and decades and still be stuck with the same nonsense consciousness. The same consciousness. The same mentality, the same anarthas, the same burden that I had 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Or one can take to the process and transform the consciousness, cure the consciousness. And this is a symptom of cured consciousness. This is the natural vision of the soul, is to see all souls equally. Help me out, Bhagavad Gita, the verse. The Brahmins, how they see the wise person. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavi hashtini shunni shaiva svapake cha pandita. That's a pandit, that's a wise person. That's an intelligent person who sees all living entities equally. It feels artificial. For me, it feels artificial. I see distinctions. The distinctions are right in my face. This person is gentle. This person is the opposite of gentle. This person is extremely likable. This person is not at all likable. And you have everything in between. So it feels artificial to see the equality of all living beings. Here's a pit bull and here's a golden retriever, One looks like the one is going to chew off your fingers, and the other one, if you're a thief coming to the house, the tail will be wagging, great to see you. So totally different mentalities. But this is the vision of a pure soul. They see. They don't take the body seriously. In that sense, they see that this is just a temporary covering. The real thing is the soul inside the body, glorious soul. And with that vision, they're able to do good for the world. And that's the attitude of a devotee. The attitude of a devotee is the opposite of material consciousness. Material consciousness is always self-absorbed, thinking, what's in it for me? What can I get? That's the material world. The material world, innumerable souls all thinking, what can I get? So naturally, there's a few collisions along the way, a little bit of discord. Of course, there's conflict. Individually, communally, in terms of religious so-called divisions, nationally, of course there's conflict. There must be. And everyone looking out for their interest, or my family's interest, or my community's interest, or my country's interest, at the expense of someone else. The other people, they don't matter. The other species, it doesn't matter. That's material consciousness. It's ugly. It's ugly. And a Vaishnava is something different. That's a different type of mentality. As we hear about what a Vaishnava is from the scriptures, from the examples, it's very humbling. It's extremely humbling. We come to Krishna consciousness and we think, I was a non-devotee before, and now I'm a devotee. It takes time to become a devotee. We should see others as devotees, even from day one, yes, as a devotee. But myself, some percent trying to be a devotee, and plenty of Hiranyakashipu there. Plenty. So a devotee has no self-interest. None at all. Prahlad Maharaj, Nrsingadev said, so anything you want, you name it, it's yours. I'm not interested in doing business. I'm just content to be your humble servant. But if you want to give me any benediction, you give me the benediction that this demon who was torturing me, not that he bumped me in the temple room, he was torturing me. You please forgive him. That's a Vaishnava's heart. Because he was filled up. Prahlad Maharaj was filled with Krishna. He was totally satisfied, totally happy, totally content. So in that platform of total contentment, where's the question of feeling resentment or spite or the desire for revenge against another living being? There's no possibility of it. The opposite. One is feeling so satisfied. I want others to feel satisfied too. I want others to be free from suffering. Therefore, in the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, he's also praying for other living entities. It's not just my Lord, me, give me this, give me that. No. There's always the concern that others should also get your mercy. And you please help me to become a proper instrument for giving your mercy to others. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, as an indication of what is the heart and the mind of a Vaishnava, we should wish the highest good for our worst enemy. It's very humbling. It's very humbling. And then we have another example, even more extreme than that in terms of purity. The example of Vasudeva Datta. I don't only want good for other souls. I don't only want that. I want not only want the highest good. I'll take their karma. You give me their karma. Everyone's karma. Maybe I would take my son's karma. Yes, I can say. Anyone else's? Don't tell my wife. Vasudeva, give me everyone's karma. All the nasty people, the wicked people, I'll take their karma. I'll suffer for them. They should go back to Godhead. This is the heart of a Vaishnava. So we're engaged in the process, and the process works. But it works when it's done with attention and with the right attitude. And the most essential attitude to have to get the fruit of our practice. We want the fruit of our practice. Not that we want to be practicing for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and still, where's the fruit? I'm not experiencing a profound change in my consciousness. I'm going to read one verse just to close off the class. It's a beautiful verse from the Brihad Bhagavatamrita talking about the love of God that's available in Goloka Vrindavan, which is our goal. This is what Prabhupada came to give. Prabhupada is a resident of Krishna Loka, and he came to give us love for Krishna in the mood of the residents of Vrindavan. That loving devotional service is far different from disciplines such as karma, jnana, and yoga. At every stage, it is decorated by indifference to them, and its root is, what's the root of that love? Anyone would like to say? What is the root of that love? Prabhu said humility. And its root is dainya, utter humility. An intelligent person should carefully cultivate speech, behavior, and thinking that fix him in utter humility, and anything that stands in the way of it, he should avoid. Without utter humility, the pure love that leads to entrance into Goloka will never arise. And until you attain that world, you will never be at peace. So as we study the scriptures, we read, we find always these gems. We find these gems. The scriptures is just it's a storehouse. It's an unlimited mine of gems. So there's a gem right there. So we cultivate it very carefully. Cultivating it means very carefully cultivating an attitude of respect for other living entities. And we are introspective to see where, oops, I fell short. Oops, I could have dealt with that situation, with that person in a different way. My tone of voice could have been softer. I could have resolved that issue in a different way. Like a sadhu would resolve it, not like my conditioned nature would resolve it. So this is Krishna consciousness. And how do we achieve success? We achieve success by constantly appealing to Krishna and appealing to our spiritual master. You please help me, because there's no possibility of me achieving success without special grace. And Krishna, he's very, very merciful. He's very merciful. He's very eager to bring us back into that world where there's pure love, where there's pure existence, our real life. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Navina Nirada Prabhu, we have 2 minutes. Yes, please.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Tara Prabhu. Wonderful class. How to decide whether we allow Krishna...
Sorry, start it again, please.
How to decide whether to... Wonderful class. Thank you, Tara Prabhu. How to decide whether to allow Krishna to resolve the conflicts of our life and of the world, or to take the initiative to try to resolve conflict that is there. Just as an example, we have relationships, we have friends, and at some point in our lives we're close, but at some points we may not be that close. Some points it might be quite annoying and quite contrary, quite disturbing. Do we address that? Or do we just go and do our bhajan and pray to Krishna that he will resolve it? Because sometimes if we address it, we may make it worse. Even if we have a humble attitude, the other party may not be ready or willing to also come down from the high horse and make up, so to speak. So when to address and when to just go on a long japa walk.
Yeah, this is a real question, because that's life, isn't it? There's all sorts of circumstances where it's not, okay, should I chant Hare Krishna or not? The answer to that is, there's no debate there. Other things are really subtle. They're nuanced, and exactly how to traverse the path of life, well, that's not so clear a lot of times. What is the exact proper course to deal with every circumstance of life? So that's why we have association of people who are wiser than us, who are not embroiled in maybe the passion of the situation. That's why managers have to be guided by non-managers, right? Because managers are immersed in a certain circumstance. You have to find someone who's a Brahmin, clear, cool, wise, to give advice. Well, you did well, but this needs to be adjusted. Better to deal with in this way. And then the manager, the leader, has to take guidance from that person who's not perhaps affected by the emotional circumstances. So,
what about friends?
Friends, there can be peers who are wise, and we can certainly consult them. I think it's a combination of, we pray hard. Krishna, I have no idea. I'm not that smart, and I really need guidance at every step of the way. That's Krishna consciousness. In all circumstances, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. By my grace, you'll cross over all the obstacles of conditioned life. If, however, you act through false ego, thinking, I've got it figured out. This is a challenge of people who are materially qualified. Sometimes you find the CEO of a large corporation, super smart guy, super educated, qualified, has brought the company from here to here, and they just become so confident, they don't consult anymore. And then they end up doing, sometimes they do something super stupid because they didn't consult. So always, in all circumstances, we depend on Krishna's grace. My dear Lord Krishna, you please don't let me mess it up. Please help me so that I can walk the path. I can act in a way, think in a way, speak in a way, act in a way that's in line with your desire, with your will. That itself is success. That right there is success. And then we consult with certain people that we consider to be wise. And that's success. The outcome might not be perfect. Krishna might give us inspiration. Yes, I should try to mend this relationship with this certain person. And the sadhus might say, yes, you should humble yourself. And the person says, get out of my face. But the success is still there because we followed the dictation of the Lord and the advanced devotees, and we tried to be humble. Prabhu.
You mentioned
Gop Kumar.
How
Yes,
he wasn't satisfied anywhere.
He
wasn't satisfied, even in Vaikuntha. Then he made it to Goloka, that was his place. But we have examples of great models like Prahlad Maharaj. They are not in Goloka, Vrindavan.
Yeah.
And there's even Narada Muni who made it all the way to Goloka. But he didn't stay. So how about we who are called into this Prabhupada's movement? Do we belong to Goloka, Vrindavan? Is there a way to know? Is it relevant, or we just don't worry about it?
Well, we imagine if we achieve success and we come to a place and we say, where's Prabhupada? And they say, oh, Prabhupada's on a different planet. No, there's no follower of Prabhupada who will say, okay, I'll stay here. So no, I want to serve at the feet of Prabhupada and at the feet of Prabhupada's followers. That's natural. So highly unlikely, let's say. But, yeah. That's all I have.
Why did Narada Muni not stay?
Sorry?
Why would Narada Muni make it to the spiritual world, Goloka, and didn't stay there? Why?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with that pastime or the explanation of the acharyas as to why Narada Muni went to, you say, Goloka and didn't stay. I don't know.
Lakshmi Devi?
Lakshmi Devi also. We know she wasn't willing to adopt the mood of the Vrajbasis, following the footsteps of the gopis.
So therefore we could say that we don't all belong there, and we might not.
If we achieve spiritual perfection, we'll be totally content. We'll be free from all the problems of life, and we'll be connected to the Lord. The details, I don't know.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Sure. Haribol. Thank you. Hare Krishna.